And the second time that I met him for New Year's, I was slipping back into my degenerate casual sex obsessed days. You know, I was totally focused, like, oh, boys, let's go get some girls and everything. And even before I had met him in the train station that day, I'd already spoken to a couple of girls. I met him, hugged him and everything, and immediately spoke to a girl next to him. We go out to the rave, and I've pretty much abandoned the group of friends that I came out with just so I can go speak to girls. We come back to the hotel, there's a group of girls there, I invite them up, I end up getting with one of them, and it was a very degenerate 24 hours. Just recently, Sam said that he looked at me differently because of that day, because he realized just how much my ego was validated by casual sex and like these random girls that I didn't really even care about. And it fucking hit. It made me realize just how easy it is to be obsessed with casual sex, and just how bad it is for you, and how everyone just views you like a weirdo for it. Adonis sees the bigger picture than most men can't. He understands that the consequences of casual sex is that the entire nation gets destroyed. Adonis looks through the history books, through philosophy, and it all makes sense, but no one else is speaking about this. You might be sat here right now thinking that sex isn't bad, is it? Everyone's telling you to get, you know, to become a high value man and then you can have sex, and all the red pillars are telling you that they have plates and everything. No matter what, we know that casual sex is instant gratification. And straight away, we can start making excuses, but the truth is we know that it is simply just a pleasurable act that feels good today, but generally would probably make your life worse in the long run. Why? The truth is that we are not supposed to be inside that many people, for men and women. I 100% agree with a bunch of the red pillars that promiscuity damages women a lot more than men, and I think anyone who isn't completely blinded and conditioned by modern society would agree. Of course, women are going to be more receptible to the consequences of casual sex. Of course they are. But men still experience huge negatives because of this lifestyle, if not only for the real world consequences, like, yeah, people see you as a degenerate, you see yourself as a degenerate, you spend a lot of time and energy in low quality places like nightclubs and Tinder. But there's a weird spiritual consequence, which is kind of hard to understand because I'm not personally a spiritual person, you probably aren't, but it seems so true that it just wrecks your soul when you're connected but not really connected with so many people, when you've indulged in mindless sex. Making love is very, very different, and I think that's a very beautiful thing that kind of flourishes the soul. Making love for the soul is kind of like sleep and exercise for the body. But most of the time in the modern day, we're not making love. We've met this one person tonight, we're going to sleep with them, and, you know, maybe we'll end up dating or something, but like, we are heavily motivated by sex, and not only for the damages that it does to you as an individual, but to your country and to your nation. It's something that a lot of people don't talk about. You see a lot of like ultra successful rappers, and of course this is the top 0.001% of fame, so of course it's quite extreme, but you can see how someone who objectively would be a 3 out of 10 physically, 4 out of 10 physically, has literally hundreds, thousands of women who would happily sleep with him today simply because of his fame. The fifth way to get into the top 10% of men to be like one of the best guys in terms of, you know, attracting girls. If you are on this journey to improve yourself, to become like a man of character, you know, a man of success, to attract women, to date, to have sex, to fall in love, if there's one single tip I could give you in terms of like, you want to start meeting more girls outside, you want to start like approaching more and getting like numbers and, you know, sleeping with or dating the women that you meet in your normal day-to-day life, it's to get into a social flow. That's the same energy that you want when you're navigating life. You're going outside more with somewhat of the intention that, yeah, like, I want to meet more girls, I'm a young man, I'm horny, I want to like date, I want to have intimacy. Yeah, of course I do. Go outside more, be around cafes and bars and restaurants and gyms and clubs, and, you know, just be fucking social, be outside, have reasons to be outside of your house. And it feels so natural to be able to then just up your flirting game with them a bit. You're already navigating life with this like flow state, you just feel social, you've had 5 conversations with people, you flirted with the waitress and everything, and now there's a girl that you really want. Bro, it's normal, it's natural to be able to escalate things with her.
Alright, peace to you, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Now in this video, I'm going to be discussing this is a talking point which I've heard many people say, many people talk about, and this video is actually going to be about Hamza again, because I really find him interesting, and I tune into his channel, not because I'm seeking guidance or wisdom from it, because although maybe there's some good things here and there, diet, fitness, advice, that kind of thing, but generally speaking, philosophically, the guy is completely bankrupt. But I tune into him because him and I, not in how we live, but at least to a certain extent our history, we're quite similar. He's kind of, I almost see him like me going down the wrong path, so I tune into him, and he's somebody who, I don't see him as a shill, I don't see him as an agent of the government or anything like that. I think he's a dude who genuinely, you know, at one point he lived a pretty quote-unquote miserable life, which it was a miserable life, and now he's got himself a good body, he's starting to make himself money, he's actually figured out how to unlock the riches of this world, as it were. So I see him as a genuine dude, and he's interesting for that reason. I follow him because a lot of people listen to him. He's influencing a lot of people. He's really leading this movement, which it's terrible. It's terrible that that's the case. He's leading this movement of men fighting against, quote unquote, the New World Order, or quote unquote fighting against the New World Order and effeminacy and all this kind of stuff. And really, I want to speak about his contradictions and how he's flip-flopped on things. And specifically, there's a certain talking point I've heard from him, which I hear from many, many people. And to give you some background and to preface this video, with Hamza, he, at first in the beginning part of his channel, or the beginning kind of phase of his channel when he was just starting to blow up, he would make videos talking about how he gets all these girls in the club and how you can do the same, and how, you know, he sleeps with all these different girls, how you can unlock the skill of being a degenerate, how to get the body, how to speak to the girl, how to text a girl, etc., etc., etc. And then he had sort of an epiphany, and this was right around the time, God knows best, I personally think he watched my video that I made on him and it maybe made him think of things, but around that time, he had an epiphany where he started, like a little after that, he had an epiphany realizing that, okay, we should not be inside of all these people, all this mindless sex, all this mindless consuming of the sexual gratification. This is terrible for society. It's terrible for people. It causes so much damage, not only to the man, but the woman as well. Not only to the woman, but also to the man. He started to realize that this stuff was wrong, okay? Then he preached the virtue of chastity and of the, you know, he even talks about how the religious man, the righteous man, you know, the one who saves himself till marriage, the one who has that traditional masculine value that comes from the scriptures. This guy is the most masculine. He started promoting that. Now I see he's flip-flopping back into the same kind of content he made in the beginning, where he's talking about how to get women, how to become the top 10% of men so that women like you, and you know, and I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing. What he's doing, and I've heard this from many people before, the doctrine that he'll teach is, the mindless sex, yeah, it's evil and it's terrible, it's wrong, it destroys society, yet, you know, as long as you love the girl, then it's okay to engage in sexual intimacy and have those kind of intimate relationships. Just make sure you love her. And I've heard this from many people. A lot of times when I relate to people the problems within a modern world, and I tell them that all this mindless sex, people, they don't see sex as something sacred that a husband and wife share with each other. An intimate, close, personal bonding experience, which really primarily is for producing children. When you start to see sex as just this massage that feels good, which you just do with anybody that, you know, attracts you, that you want to get massage from, people, most of the time, they understand that this is wicked and this is wrong. Deep down, they know that this is wrong. And I hear this response not only from Hamza, but from a lot of people that say, oh, at least love the person. Love the person. They'll say, oh, I do it with somebody I love. I do it with my boyfriend. I do it with my girlfriend. At least I do it with somebody I love. I'm not like those degenerate savages over there. I love the person. I give some value and sacredness to the concept of sex. And I maintain, ladies and gentlemen, that this is all vain and pretended. This is all vain and pretended, okay? If you are not willing to marry the girl and put a ring on her, you don't love her. You don't love her, okay? And I see guys like Hamza and, you know, people just within this red pill sort of, what's it called? The men's self-improvement sphere, even guys like, what's his name? Ice Cold JT as well. They say, oh, just love the girl and share an intimate experience. And what this is, I know what he's doing, what these guys are doing. What they're doing is because a big part of their platform is they like to see themselves as the resistance to what's going on in the modern world. They like to see themselves as the resistance to degeneracy and evil. They are trying to paint themselves out as some kind of guru, some kind of person who is delivering to you ancient wisdom from the past. Oh, this is ancient wisdom from the past, how to be masculine, how to be manly, which the modern world doesn't want you to hear. Yet at the same time, they're trying to keep the door open for their own degeneracy. So that's what they're doing, okay? Hamza, he doesn't want to admit this to you, but the reality is, if he's still continuing to engage in these things, which I still think he is no different than the degenerate pervert in the modern world who just sees sex purely as a massage, because love is vain, love is pathetic, love doesn't mean anything. The traditionally masculine religious man that Hamza upholds and these guys uphold as virtuous and righteous, which I uphold as virtuous and righteous, I think that this is the standard for what men should be. He doesn't just say he loves a girl. If he loves a girl, it's not just out of his mouth, he proves it. How do you prove that you love a girl? You marry her. There's a certain process you go about. You know, you get the girl a gift, you know, you approach her, you go in this way where you give the woman financial stability, you take care of her, you bring her into your life and you make her your family, you make it publicly known that you are with this woman, you're going to be loyal to her, you make it an aim and an objective to have children with the girl. That's when you truly love the girl. Once you take a contract under God to be loyal to this girl, that's when you know you truly love a girl. If you are not willing to do that with the girl, you don't love her. And Hamza and these guys, they need to stop making this like this pretended distinction that they're different from those modern degenerate savages. No, you are literally the exact same thing. That's why he doesn't go the full way. He's not going to go the full way and tell you that, oh, you know, really, in reality, the way we're supposed to be with women is if we're going to engage in a sexual relationship with them, we have to be married to them. He's not going to go the full way because he's not willing to accept the hardship that comes with that. I will tell you, man, if you want a truly difficult, masculine, hard battle to fight, try being chaste. And also, on top of that, try being chaste and saving yourself until marriage and being an actually attractive guy that women desire. Now, that is going to be a battle unlike anything else. More tougher than building up a muscular body, more tough than building up a $1 million business, more tough than building up a YouTube channel with 500,000 subscribers. One of the toughest battles you will ever fight in your life is staying chaste, remaining chaste in a savage, degenerate society that is calling you to wrong your soul, following the law of the Most High. These guys are not willing to do that. They're not willing to go the full way, yet they pretend to be teaching you this resistance, this masculine resistance, this kind of masculinity from the ancient world. Oh, we're going to tell you how to be men because this system doesn't want you to be men. They're pretending to be like the virtuous, righteous, religious man. They're pretending to kind of be drawing from his tradition when they're no different than the modern degenerate savages. Love is vain and empty. There is no love unless you're willing to commit to the girl. Otherwise, it's just sex. It's just that same guy who thinks that all it is just a massage that feels good. You are doing the exact same thing, okay? And we need to keep that in mind, that when people, all it is, when people tell you that, oh, you should love the girl and you know you should actually have feelings for the person, all they're saying is, I agree that the traditionally religious masculine man, that he has the righteous standard, the righteous way of life, but I don't want to go the full way and actually do the difficult thing, and that is save myself till marriage. That's all these guys are doing. So I don't want to hear none of it. I don't want to hear none of it. And I know for a fact that that is exactly what's going on in Hamza and these types of guys' mind. They're not willing to go the full way and say that you have to marry before you have sex. They're not willing to do that, because if that was the case, then that would mean they'd have to change a lot of things about their personal life. They're just going to talk about love and pretend like there's a difference between them and modern atheist degenerate savages. There's none. There's none. And I just thought about this after I recorded the video, and I want to insert it in now. And I was just thinking about, okay, so why are they unwilling to make this change? Why are they not willing to stay chaste before marriage? And there's one simple reason why. Because they are addicted to the validation of women, okay? These guys were rejected. This goes back to that rap video I made. They were rejected at one point by women. They were seen as undesirable. They had their heart broken over and over and over. And now they have this gaping sense of insecurity. They do not feel like desirable, masculine, attractive men until they have multiple low class, low value, easy women telling them that. They need to hear it from multiple women at once in order to feel that sense of validation. It comes from nothing more than insecurity. They're not willing to take that true masculine leap, that true masculine commitment to stay chaste until marriage, because they need the validation of women. It comes from weakness. It comes from anything but masculinity, okay? That is these guys and their whole ilk, their whole tradition, their whole way of life, everything that they do, that is it utterly exposed for you, okay? It comes out of insecurity, a deep sense of feeling undesirable. You guys are not the resistance, okay? Hamza, Ice Cold JT, so long as you remain doing these things and compromising, you are not the resistance. You are exactly what the system wants. You are an exact product of the system. You have adopted the degenerate ways of life that the system wants you to, and you promote it to other men. You promote it to other men and you pretend like you don't, okay? You are not a resistance. The true resistance comes from righteous men who follow the law of God and are willing to bite the bullet, all right? How about instead we start to have a real resistance, okay? How about instead you guys fight a real masculine battle and hold yourself until you find a good woman? Are you guys? I challenge you. I challenge you guys. Hamza, Ice Cold JT. Why don't you? And you know it's right. You know it's right deep down. You know exactly what I'm telling you is exactly the truth that you're afraid of saying because it has implications on your life. Okay, stop talking about love and let's start talking about marriage. There's only one objective standard for proving your love to a woman that's not your family, and that is marrying her. Marrying her. Otherwise, you are just infatuated, and it is lust and nothing more. Okay. So I just want to make this quick video, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't want to hear in the comment section like, oh, you're obsessing over Hamza and stuff like that. You know, people can criticize each other, people can call each other and hold each other accountable for their words, and people can have confrontation like this, and there's no problem with that whatsoever. There's no problem, all right? You see my channel, I talk about God, I'm writing a book right now. I have so many other things that I'm dealing with that has nothing to do with Hamza. It's just I'm specifically following him because I see this guy as a very interesting case. I see him as interesting because he is a modern degenerate savage who is pretending to be something else. Okay, he's pretending to be the resistance when he's not, and very similar to me. Similar, same country. Our heritage is from. You know, we grew up in the same type of, although he's in England, or I don't know if he's in England, but or Scotland or wherever he is, but you know, he's in the UK. He grew up in the same kind of modern, technocratic, degenerate society that I live in. We're two Pakistani guys caught in the modern world, but we went along two different paths. So that's why I find him quite interesting. And don't fall for it. Know that every single time one of these guys tells you that you have to love a girl before you have sex with them, they are just basically keeping the door open for them to put their foot in and still be able to do degenerate savagery. So then this way they can just justify, they can make everything right. Oh yeah, you know, I met that girl for a week and I had sex with her, you know, now I don't talk to her anymore, but I loved her at that moment. You could just say that about anybody. Oh, I love this person, I love that person, I love them for one single night, I love the next person for a single night. Love is meaningless unless you prove it, okay? And I'm calling these guys, you have millions of people who listen to you. I think, you know, well, you have 100,000 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers, Hamza, and probably millions of views on your channel collectively combined with all your videos. So many people listen to you and they look to you for advice on how to be a man. I'm holding you accountable, okay? I'm holding you accountable. You are, of course, everybody in the end is responsible for what they do, and we all face God alone on Judgment Day, but you are partly responsible for the behavior that other people do, taking your advice, okay? So I'm calling you, be a man and do what's right. Do what's right. Do that which you know is right, deep down, what you are afraid of saying because you don't want to do the hard battle. I've been on this since I was 14. I've been staying chaste since I was 14, since I found the Quran, since God brought the Quran in my life, and I knew it was going to be a hard battle, but I've been on it, and the true righteous, honorable, the most masculine men out there, they're on that same battle too, if they're not married, of course. If you're married, of course, you can share that kind of relationship with your wife, but the masculine single men, they're on that battle too. You guys are not men until you enter that battle, all right? And until you contract under the Most High and you start following His laws. But anyways, men, that's really all I got to say on the matter. I hope this talk was a blessing. And yeah, peace to you. Remember, deceit abounds, so keep your eyes wide open. Peace out.
Assalamu alaikum, men. My name is Walid Naeem, and I have dedicated my entire life towards spreading the truth about the words of God. And I don't know about you, but personally, I have grown sick and tired of all these mainstream religions, and specifically the mosques, which have utterly failed us. I'm fed up with them placing the words of man, specifically their fabricated hadiths, at a higher authority than God's holy scriptures, their lack of knowledge about conspiracy facts and realpolitik, and their complete ignorance of the true nature of our earth. I've had enough of their compromise, their weakness, their lame sermons which put people to sleep, their virtue signaling, their fear of facing any real persecution, and their willingness to let the quote-unquote secular atheist utterly trample over them. The atheists own all of the educational boards and teach their propaganda to every so-called Muslim and quote-unquote non-Muslim child here in the West. And now with the Toyota Corolla hoax, the atheist has successfully broken apart our communities and made us utter slaves to their government. Our so-called quote-unquote Muslim sons are a bunch of wannabe hood rat gangsters who vape, drink, smoke weed, and party like animals. And our so-called quote-unquote Muslim daughters are not much different. They have no interest in hearing about the Word of God. They are all too busy YOLOing. This has all happened while the imams have been living very comfortably off of the hard-earned money of their community members in the donation bins. As stated before, I personally am completely fed up with this. The mosques have had all of the support, funding, enfranchisement, and time of our communities and have produced absolutely nothing. The atheist has made the so-called quote-unquote Muslim man his bitch. He has steamrolled him in every way possible. That is why I created Eyes Wide Open. This channel exists as a call to action for all of those strong believing men who trust in their Lord fully and refuse to compromise the Quran. It is time the true sons of Adam and the inheritors of the tremendous tradition, in other words, the true Quranic Muslims, to set up something for themselves and fearlessly stand up against the madness that is going on in the world. What you see with my channel right now is only the beginning. These short videos I make in my car are all that I have time for right now, working a full-time job. I scribble these together while at work and make these videos while running errands. But you ain't seen nothing yet. If God should will, I have so much more in store for Eyes Wide Open. I want this to be a platform for the believers. Just a couple of things I have planned for this channel is, firstly, creating scholarly books, documentaries, and essays to arm you guys with the intellectual firepower for dealing with all of our enemies. Secondly, I would like Eyes Wide Open to be a center for heavy activism, public and street preaching, going to City Hall, organizing protests, knocking doors, going to baseball, hockey, soccer, basketball, and other major sporting events and preaching to the people leaving the stadium, going to the totally failed mosques, synagogues, and churches and debating with their religious leaders, going to universities and debating the quote-unquote secular professors on their laughable so-called science, and much more. It's time the believers start to fight back and shake the cage of this disgusting system. My goal is to create a base for the believers. I want people to know of our name, that there are dedicated, zealous, and studious men who do not compromise the word of God, and we are ready to take action. If we keep waiting for our mosque to do something about the real problems of this world, then we will be waiting until Judgment Day. We need to create something now from the ground up. With that being said, may God bless us in all of our endeavors and guide us every step of the way. If this sounds like something you are interested in, and if you want to be a part of the movement, then you can help me out. My Patreon and PayPal are linked in the description of every video, and, God willing, if enough generous believers decide to fund this platform, then I can quit my full-time job and look for something part-time, or, even better than that, leave employment completely, which will give me more hours in the day to do this work. I do not care to be rich. All of that stuff is vanity anyways. But the fact of the matter is, my wife and I need to eat and have a roof over our heads. So, if you wish to support the cause, then I thank you sincerely for that and promise to fight with might and main in the cause of God for the believers. If you are not able to, hey, then I totally understand. Find somebody else who needs that money and give it to them. Give it out of fear of your Lord and in dread of that great and terrible day, which is coming to all of us. For all of the believers out there, the brothers and sisters who follow hard upon the truth, all I can say is much love to each and every one of you. May God reward you in this life and the hereafter. Praise goes to God alone. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Peace.